All right, I got Finger for Percy. It's Wednesday night. It's podcast night. We've got returning guest Randy Pranks here tonight. Randy, thanks for obliging us again.
As always, thank you for having me, Mike.
Yeah,
Percy,
we've,
glad to be here.
we've had a good time in the, also known as the Losers Lounge. Well, time coming soon. Whipkey's got a list for us tonight. And yeah, as you can tell tonight, we've already had a really good time. We've been talking about a lot of different music subjects, a lot of different things, current events, the state of the world, the big beautiful bill, all that great stuff. Sorry, first. Also, that's pretty good.
We have some great ideas.
Podcast. Uh, so
Lots of people say it.
yeah,
Let's don't start singing it. So when
we are spending. Well, we were doing Paul Rodgers. So things Paul Rodgers, and that includes his work with Free, Ad Company, of course, the firm, and he even did some work with Queen.
Dang, I did the wrong list with Randy here. I thought we were doing 90s TV things, man.
We finally broke the fucking shell. That was good. We have pigeonholed you into movies and TV for all this time. But the reason we did this is because the late, great Mike Bubba Bruce, boom, loved music by Paul Rodgers. He loved Free. Warm did a bunch of Free songs, and they were pretty amazing tunes. And so we might have a reel this week where we don't get sued for copyright infringements with something by Warm. What do you think, first?
Our warm stuff, especially the Free Bad Company did. It's on YouTube, and all the stuff that we have put on YouTube. Paul Rodgers Camp is a world's worst
Oh boy!
about
So
the copyright.
maybe or maybe not, but we'll see
And
how it
it's
goes.
sad because we're not trying to make a buck off your music. We're trying to turn people on to your music.
That's right. Everyone else wants to make a buck while we're just still grinding it out here in the trenches.
We're just trying to help people.
We're trying to
Ride around and help
right
people.
on. And hope that after you listen to the podcast, you'll dive into our playlist, which Percy will put together, and it will be amazing music. This was a tough list to put together. So before we get started, let's thank our sponsors, Spice of the Smokehouse Crackers. Lynn popped in before you got here, Randy, and made sure we had enough giveaways for you. We've got some stuff for you before you go. Of course, Brindley's Family Pharmacy. They do a great job, and if you're not using a local pharmacy, then yeah, you're losing out on a different level of care. Last but not least, it's Percy and I alone, pretty much. Winnie will probably be around at the bar Saturday from 11 to 4, and we are going to play the Paul Rodgers playlist. So it'll be a good time. Come on up and have some Bloody Marys and mimosas or whatever you want. I'll mix it for you. So
I just feel like with Paul Rodgers, with that gravelly voice, you should be drinking bourbon
that sounds like a
during the playlist. Yeah, or some green tea and bourbon.
One of the best rock voices ever.
without a doubt. We need to concoct a shot just called Bad Company. Yeah, or Free. So
Or the firm.
or yeah, they all work.
Right. The arm shot.
Yeah.
I'm all that for fiction time.
Percy, before we get started on honorable mentions, do you have anything? Look, your remembers. Because usually when we get started, you always say, well, "I just want to say one more thing." So I want to make sure you get that
Well,
off.
I'm not going to say one more thing if we just get started.
Well, because you do.
I don't reckon I do this.
See, I told you, Willie.
In a word.
Why you
That's her.
put me on the spot like
Great. All right. So honorable mentions. Your honorable mentions. Pretty good feeling where your heart lies on this. So let's hear them out.
most people do? And my first honorable mention was from Free. I could have just done a Free, me
Absolutely.
personally, a Free list. But this comes, and I don't know if it's the album is ton of SOBs or I think it's a ton of SOBs. But the song is "I'm a Mover." And what I love about Free is that bluesy. It's just in this song. It's almost kind of like psychedelic bluesy.
Right.
And if anything, Paul Rodgers could do with the blues. I mean,
And when people think about Paul, they don't really think about, him as a bluesy singer,
And-
just more of a rocker.
Free. And well, I know we just lost Mick Rouse from Bad Company.
R.I.P. man.
He didn't get enough credit. And the guitar player from Free surely did not get enough credit. Paul Kossoff. I learned this week just really how amazing he was.
Yeah.
My next honorable mention, maybe it should be a little higher, but it is what it is. And it's from his days in Bad Company. And it's Shooting Star.
Great song.
But, I mean, it's just a great story, which everybody, and I've always said this, and Wilkie may not agree with this, but the song that Travis Tritt did,
I'm gonna be somebody.
I say that he got the idea from that.
Guaranteed did.
from
I have
Star.
thought about that before when I listened to it, and I'm like, he is robbing Bad Company right here. But still, it's a great song. Both.
My last honorable mention is a song from Bad Company that was written by the late Mick Rouse. And to me, we just even mentioned this album earlier that it was going to be on $5 records when we were talking earlier. But to me, this song has got kind of like almost like a southern vibe to it. And it's Oh Atlanta.
That's a great tune.
That is a great song.
Yeah.
Atlanta Rhythm section did come on.
No, that's two different songs.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
Okay.
that's two different
Okay.
songs.
We're getting a little education here then.
But
Randy.
Alison Krauss covered Oh Atlanta, that version.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I thought it was the same too, and then I started listening to the words.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it's
Good to know. Good to know. Got a little confused. All right. Way to kick us off, son. Randy, honorable mentions for you.
All right, as you mentioned, as we all mentioned, what a great voice Paul Rodgers had. What a great singing voice. That I loved a version he did, a cover. He did a lot of covers. And he did a version by Isaac Hayes called Walk On By.
I love the song Walk On By.
There's an album, what is it, from the Royal Sessions album. And it was filmed it's recorded in Memphis. And a lot of the musicians on this album were musicians from the originals that recorded those songs.
With Isaac.
Like I said, they might be on Isaac, they might be in Albert King's band, but some of these musicians on this album played with the original one. And I love Walk On By. It was a big band sound.
Sure.
Check it. Had
This
horns.
just goes to demonstrate his vocal levels.
Yes.
He could sing a phone book.
He could sing, and this band had, it showed his chops as a singer, I thought.
Good choice. All right. What's next in your little repertoire? You got them highlighters
Man.
and pens going over here.
You're professional.
Yeah.
I tried to come
That's all we have.
You're breaking out the white out.
Yeah, don't sniff that stuff. Okay.
I loved my second honorable mention from the Newcastle City album, Newcastle City Hall album. I like Rocksteady
Great song.
because I thought it was just typical of a 70s band that was good, just badass rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Which they
You
were.
get it in your head and you can't get it out. It'll drive you all the way to work.
Yeah, thanks for that. All right. You should have one more
I got-
honorable mention.
One more. And
I feel like we're playing bingo in here.
yeah, I am.
B9.
I'm going straight from the annals of MTV because I thought this.
What? Did you put the angle?
Randy, TV.
Randy.
What the call is?
I think you're regretting it. That's correct.
But you're not.
Yes.
Why are you pronouncing it that way?
But you at least have to come with a strong contact. This push.
Right. And I'm going to rephrase that. Straight from the heart of MTV.
There we go.
The heart of MTV. I love the band. And I like Satisfaction Guaranteed by the Birds. That was a 1985 album put together, and Jimmy Page just showed out on. He could do whatever he wanted to, and Paul Rodgers sang some really cool stuff.
Great video. It was. Yes. From that Annals of
Al,
Annals of MTV. Rookie. Small Memphis tonight.
I got to see Paul Rodgers. He opened up for Leonard Skinner at Oak Mountain in the '90s,
No kidding.
and it was great because he sung a bit of everything. And it was just great. I was like, man, this is cool. And I didn't get to see Bad Company, but you got to saw Paul Rodgers.
Cool.
My first song I'll mention is Simple Man.
What?
Yes, not the Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
But it's Simple Man from Bad Company.
All right. I know this. Yeah.
And then I got Fire and Water from Free.
Yeah, great song.
And then my last honorable mention is kind of a double deuce because it was recorded by Free, but then re-recorded by Bad Company to the B side of Moving On, and it's Easy on My Soul.
Oh, good choice, man. All right, you did a little deep dive with that.
A little bit, I like that.
The double deuce. That was the double deuce. It's called something else to go to Roadhouse, but just saying.
There you go.
We've already gone off the rails, so my first honorable mention. Yeah, so thanks for that, Randy. I liked it when Paul Rodgers slowed it down. And he did that, I think, more with Bad Company than he did any of the other groups. And I'm going to go with Bad Company, Weep No More. Yeah, there we go. A little shocker. Y'all left that one off, didn't you? So, anyway, love that one. The next one, another Bad Company song. And this is the one that, Randy, we were talking earlier in the lounge that Desolation Angels, Rock and Roll Fantasy, probably turned our generation on to listening to Bad Company, and then we did the back catalog and we figured that out.
It was FM heavy.
Yeah, it was. So when I went back and started buying Bad Company stuff, and before y'all got here tonight, I went to the CD collection, which is pretty big, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I got some Bad Company. I had like 4 or 5 CDs, so I'm going with Run with the Pack. Oh yeah, just there's some harmony in that too.
Good.
Yeah, so that's a rocker. So my last one, I don't think y'all will have this one either, but I love the song, and I'm going with Silver, Blue, and Gold.
That's
Bad
good.
Company. It's sort of more of a mellow song, and people that know me when I'm chilling out, then I'm pretty much listening to the mellow stuff. So that's honorable mention. So good round, guys. Now let's get into top fives. Number 5, starting out with Percy.
My number 5 is off a fairly recent album, and he was on Flash's album, and he did a cover of "Born Under a Bad Sign."
Oh wow!
And he had done that song before because there was a
That's an Albert King cover.
yes,
Yeah.
there was a acoustic Cream album, and he did "Born Under a Bad Sign" on that album. But this is just here within the past year or two when he was on Slash's album, and he does a great job. And of course,
Wow.
that's one of my favorite songs. My favorite version is the Cream version.
Nice.
Be Cream.
All right. Good number 5. Randy, what you got for 5?
I like another Albert King cover, The Hunter.
Boy,
The
good
Hunter.
choice.
That Free did. I don't know. That was off the Tons of Sobs album back in about '69.
Sobs. Let's get right into
Sobs. Tons of Sobs.
Rest of these.
We didn't call it that in the '60s.
There may have been.
And that one was covered by a lot of folks. Zepp covered it. Ike and Tina took it to the charts
I Cantina.
with it.
Warm covered.
Yeah.
Warm does a great job with it.
If nobody hasn't noticed, the cover of 100 from Warm is our intro music.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
And it was written, I know it was written by the Stax record,
Yeah,
House
Stax
band.
Records.
the house band.
Yeah, one of them was
Which-
Booker T and MG.
That's going to say
Yeah.
we know them by Booker T and MG.
Nice. All right. That was your 5. Okay.
My number 5 is Burning Sky.
Good one.
I just love that song. So I was talking about Skinner before we go Simple Man.
Excuse me, sneeze.
Simple Man.
It's all that stuff we did.
Sing something that
Burning Sky's great too.
it is.
Yes.
Did
Warm did that.
Warm did that too.
Saw a thing earlier this week when I was doing some research that Gary Rossington from the Rossington Collins Band actually wanted to get Paul Rodgers to join his band after Skinner was.
Oh wow, that would have been a pretty wild.
That was a nice
been
addition.
A better band.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then they had a vote that was, worse on.
Look on that. And if my research was correct, it said when he went to the studios, he already had the basic idea for the song and its chords. And he did crazy to think that he made up most of the lyrics in the recording in one take.
Wow.
I don't know, the internet can't be wrong.
Oh no, of course, especially Facebook. So where you got it?
No. I got off more important than that. I got off of social media.
Oh, well, it's okay, same thing. All right. Wilk, that was yours?
Yeah.
That was great. Burning Sky. All right. Number 5 is Bad Company again, which mine's going to be heavily influenced by Bad Company. It's my all-time greatest favorite bands. Wish I could have seen them in concert. I never got to. But I'm going with Gone, Gone, Gone. That's like the message. He had enough.
Done.
He's done.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my number 5. Percy, we're at number 4. So what you got?
My number 4 has already been mentioned, and it's Running with a Pack.
Oh, such great
I
song.
mean, some of those are just like rock bangers. I mean, I don't know any way to put it.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it made both our lists. I mean, so I'm thinking it's one of the best ever. Randy can acknowledge that. So, Randy, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is from the Highway album of Free back in '70 of Be My Friend. I
Okay.
love that cover. I love that song. It's like I mean, it shows once again what a great singer he is. And it's just a weird, nice love song that has made the transition and aged very well from 1970 to now. It still works.
It does.
I love that song.
I think all their music, Bad Company and Free, are somewhat still relevant. We had talked earlier about, the Firm to me was great, but you can hear the datedness in
Yes.
that straight from the 80s. But Bad Company and Free, to me, that's not dated at all for rock and roll. Do you agree, Percy?
I agree, and that's what I love about music that is not dated.
Absolutely.
There's some music, especially that happens from the 80s, when you can tell that this is
Yeah.
just so dated.
Wilkie, you're up.
My number 4 is from the debut album 50 years ago this month, actually.
Wow, right?
Was the song Bad Company.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It just,
What a way to introduce your own band,
yeah, it's just like,
and sing a
Yeah.
song, that's
when I first
your
heard it,
name.
when I was a kid, when I first heard it, kind of reminded me like a Western, like, hey, Bad Company, man.
Yeah, 'cause it starts out, you're like, man, it's Clint Eastwood about to show up here, and then
Now, did I understand correctly? I think that was apparently the first song that Paul Rodgers, when he met Mick Ralph, who was in Mott the Hoople,
that's right.
hey, don't you listen to this song? Check this out. And that was the first song.
That's how they
joined. They
Yeah.
created.
And they were I don't want to say one of the first, but they were one of the early super groups because you had Mick coming, from Not the Hoople. The other guys were coming from different bands, and
It's like free agency.
yeah, it truly was. You know, NIL money going around. So, all right, my turn.
Yes, sir.
I'm going with my song from Free, and Percy sort of got me listening to some Free this past week, and he turned me on to one that I had heard a long time ago and forgotten about, and it's real bluesy, and I loved it. And it's Going Down Slow. So yeah, props to Percy on that one for getting me back into a little Free this week, and that's what we do here. I mean, when we have an episode coming up, we don't share our lists. We don't. But we might, nudge somebody in the ribs to, hey, check this one out or check that one out. So, it's sort of fun week by week. But,
That song is almost 8 minutes, and if you don't know anything about Paul Kossoff, listen to that
yeah,
song.
he pretty much wears it.
That didn't fit the 2-minute and 39-second pop.
No, it never made. I don't think
It-
it never made the radio. Not even 96 got it. So yeah, pretty well.
And that goes to show back the blues influence on Free.
Yeah.
Because that was a Howlin' Wolf song. When that Howlin' Wolf wrote when he was actually dying,
You know, a lot of
And
the
he
bands
wrote
from the 60s,
going down the flow.
English bands, all about the American blues.
That's
Brought it back.
brought it back.
I think it's very similar to where all hard rock / metal bands owe their existence to Black Sabbath.
In
Now,
some
Black
ways,
Sabbath.
yeah.
And
I'm not
all
going that
rock
far.
bands own their existence in some part to blues.
Absolutely. Now I'll drink.
It all came from
You know,
Buddy Guy.
Yeah, but as far as the heavy metals, what he is saying,
Yeah,
they need to pay tribute to Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin.
absolutely.
but that, to me, that's true that they have to pay too, but that goes back further.
Yes, the other stuff goes back to all this old blues
No,
stuff.
I'm talking about the hard rock because it's a progression
Oh, sure.
that you get, and from it goes it starts out before, and then you get to the Yardbirds, and then you get to Cream, and it's just a gradual progression.
Yeah, and then finally you get to Bad Company, and here we are,
And here we are. Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, the podcast time. All right, we're at top threes, nitty gritty time. Mercy, what's your number three?
My number three has already been mentioned, the song, but I'm going with a version of this song, and it's live from the Summit in Houston in 1977, and it's Burning Sky. In my opinion, they, as Free and as Bad Company, they were a live band.
True. Great performers. I wish I could have seen them. All right, Randy, number three for you.
I'm going with I know this is all Paul Rodgers, so I was hesitant on this song because it's not any of his quote bands, but I thought it really he fit the bill pretty well on vocals, and I liked it when he was with Queen
All right.
on the Return of the Champions album.
Yeah.
And they toured over in the Ukraine back in about 2008. And they did a lot of cuts, a lot of Queen cuts, but I heard when they did Tie Your Mother Down.
Well, we were talking about that earlier in the week. Nail,
Oh, that was good.
which is one of my favorite Queen songs. But Freddie was looking down from Freddie, looking down on him and going, good job.
He was thinking Eddie and Cruisers.
I mean, you get a great backing band and Brian May and the crowd and the rest of the guys. Paul Rodgers fit in.
Go ahead and get the Ukraine tour out of the way.
2008 was a good time.
Yeah, it was all good. Yeah. No potholes and kids. Like, all good. Right. Well,
My number three,
have you noticed? Been keeping up.
yeah, I have. Like, but
Now, last time I said that, I screwed it up. So now it's on you.
this is. My number three is probably, it's going to be, it's Free and it's all right.
Yeah, that had to make sense.
Because, that song's just killer.
Appreciate it. I think that's pretty much the song that you tell me, Percy, that put Paul Rodgers on the map. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand how big of influence Paul Rodgers were on bands from the South. Ronnie Van Zant loved Paul Rodgers.
Mike Bubba Bruce of Paul Rodgers.
That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I seen something. You might have a bit, but I see where after Jim Morrison died, the Doors was interested in Paul Rodgers as the lead singer.
Wow, that would not surprise me, but you
But
think he could have pulled that
I
off?
don't think so. Because I don't know.
Well, the Doors were. Jim Morrison was so theatrical. Now,
Yeah, I
Hey.
can't
This-
imagine
Roger
Yeah, I can't picture that, but I seen that. I was like,
bet he could sing the song.
oh,
But I think Paul Rodgers would be one to expose himself on stage in Miami.
and it's
All in truthfulness. We covered that once. Yeah, we did. All right, my number 3 has been mentioned, and it's my wanted to make sure I had a selection from the firm, and it's Satisfaction Guarantee. I just always like the opening riff is just sort of cool, and then Paul gets into it a little bit, and the video is so 80s. But you know, man,
in the 80s. That was
when I was
great.
back in the 80s, you know, it was 20s, you know, back then. And that came out. It's like, what a cool song. So that's that for me on number 3. Percy, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is my favorite. Well, not my favorite Free song, but it's my favorite live Free song, and it's the live version of Fire and Water from the live album that they did. And I was die on this mountain.
Oh, here we go.
The version,
It's usually in
the version of Warm Fire and Water is
pretty awesome.
better than Freeze.
I think I think Mormon's version of Hunter is better.
Great. Ray's licks are pretty awesome. Yeah. Good stuff.
I'm not a big, when we got into the Warm, I dug out everything I could find of the Hunter, and I'm just not a big fan of their version. I don't like Albert King's version because he uses horns. You know, I don't like Mike and Peanut version, but when Warm is just their version is better.
Man, I can Tina's been mentioned twice tonight.
Yeah.
Hit me again.
All right.
Listen.
Hey,
All right, Randy, you're up.
me. I think this may have already been mentioned. This was the last. I don't remember. This was the last quote hit they had before Free disbanded, and that was Wishing Well.
Okay.
The entire group got together and they wrote this song. I guess that may be one of the early times the entire group got songwriting credits. But they had a friend, Bevan Woodhouse, who had passed away. So they came up with this song, and I didn't like it. You know, if I told y'all when I dove into this homework, I got into a lot of videos. I just pulled up a list of songs and I watched videos. I didn't listen to it as much as I watched it and listened to it.
That's a different experience.
It was. That's how, and I really like Wiki.
You know, I like the way you made your list, watching videos.
Thank
Because it's weird. I mean, Percy goes into the encyclopedia almost, but he knows most of the shit
Yes.
anyway. So
She's a lot more cool.
I'm more of an audiophile, so I'll play all the stuff, and I pretty much know what I like for the most time. Every now and then we get a challenge in here, which we've got one coming up next week, which we'll talk about. So anyway, good choice. All right, Wilkie.
My number 2's been mentioned, but it's a great story song, and it's Shooting Star.
Yeah, yeah. That turned the world on Bad Company.
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. And Percy mentioned the great story song and all that.
There's a lot of young artists out there that are dying way too soon,
Yeah.
and he just
Yeah.
didn't think that was right.
Absolutely. Well, 27 Club, which we did an episode on that. So, I mean, I'm sure he's sort of, there isn't any reference to that in the song, but it had entered his mind as far as inspiration. So,
Yeah.
my number 2 is another slow one. It won't be on y'all's list. It's more of a personal one for me, and it's Bad Company, Soft Straight Shooter, and it's Anna. It's just a cool, laid-back song. So my late grandmother, her name was Anna. So if I see something that's called Anna, I mean, this is going way back, way, 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 way back. So anyway, that's how, and I love this, so it's great.
The Arthur Alexander song. Not this one, but Anna was an Arthur Alexander song that the Beatles covered.
Oh wow!
Like just a few months before the Stones did.
And
Covered Arthur
you speak
Alexander.
of the Beatles, I saw today where it's International Beatles Day. So someone needs to get the word out to Brian Long.
Is that not like once a month, every month?
Should, well,
Not for me.
no, but it could be. All right, number ones. I can't wait to hear what everybody's got for number one. None of that, Percy.
My number one's already been mentioned, and it's the great Howlin' Wolf song and Free's version of Going Down Slow
Oh wow!
from tons of SOB.
There was a reason that sort of nudged me a little bit on that one. Randy, what's number one for you?
Rankings are subjective, so I have got from that album back in 1985, right out of the days of MTV, Radioactive. I mean,
It was so.
it's of their career. It got a great flick to it. I mean,
Great song. That's number one. Respect that.
now somebody cut my number one.
Well, I've got it again. Wilkie, what you got? Number one.
My number one is what turned me on to Bad Company, and I heard this song, and my favorite uncle, which is a podcast brother, Brad, was telling him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, that's Bad Company, and it's Feel Like Making Love."
Oh yeah, that's great.
And so I went to the Kmart, one is at Kmart,
The Kmart.
and
That's why I like Wilkie. It's not that one that came. Went to the Kmart.
the cassette of 10 from 6,
Great.
which I didn't know at the time was the greatest hits, because that's my first introduction to Bad Company. And I'm like, man, all these songs are awesome. That was the greatest hits, so I started digging deep. But Feel Like Making Love is what turned me on to Bad Company.
I'm gonna fast forward to this next one.
Yeah. Can't just hit the skid.
So that's my number one.
We all live there. Good choice. All right. Mine is Bad Company again. Good Loving Gone Bad. I think that's their most terrific song. For me personally, the lines in it. I'm a man. I got my pride. Don't need no woman to hurt me inside. Well, anyway, that's bullshit. I still need you, Amanda. Don't make sure that my keywords when I come home.
That's one of the songs.
Rock
One of the
and
many
roll.
songs that if you go into any bar in America,
It's
you're gonna
probably
hear the
gonna
cover band play that.
yeah. So love that one. So great choices tonight, guys. Good conversation. Percy, do you have a pick?
I do, and we've already discussed this, but I don't see how I can go with anything other than the show's theme song. And it's Warm's cover of The Hunter.
That's awesome.
It can't be on the playlist, but I will be able to post where we put it on YouTube probably 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to post a link to that.
We can repost that, and when you listen to it, you're going to realize what we're talking about. That they were such the real deal.
You can't put Warm's version of The Hunter.
No, we can't.
You can't.
Not in the playlist.
But
It's not on
on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. So because we've done it before, and well, by golly, Percy will do it again. Yeah. Power.
F the man.
Yeah. That's right. So yeah, sweet. We're covering our friend Caleb is coming. He's going to be a first timer, and we are doing Bakersfield. The Bakersfield music scene.
You don't like it, buck 'em.
Yeah, that's right. Man,
What-
Bucko.
Turn Nashville upside down.
That's fuck while he's saying that.
But he's still staring me. Oh,
Yeah, he had a
Randy.
back and said, "Fuck you too."
It's on a roll. That's why we need him here, man. Randy, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
We'll have you back again soon.
Oh, wait, can't wait.
We're pulling you out. We gotta finish this. What's that little pineapple flavor in the shine? And so I'm gonna polish this off, and all I gotta say is